Tumavele from programtom.com/dev here. And in this episode, I'm going to do something different. So I received a task for a job and I will try to code it as fast as possible. And I'm gonna use some code and some snippets that I will adapt to the current task from a previous task that I've received in the past. So the previous task was about having a backend and a front end and a unit test. The current one is a little bit less detailed with less technologies. So basically, create an application that receives a CSV file, and I will post the code on GitHub. And basically, I will need to group and find matching employees that have worked in the same time for a project. So first thing first, I need some REST endpoint to receive a CSV file, and let's look at the REST endpoint of the previous project. So I need a REST endpoint first, yeah, and here I'll have import or how should I call it? I don't know. This is one of the hardest things in programming, how to name things. So okay, I'm gonna move a little bit the microphone. So employees REST controller with annotation REST controller, and I need a endpoint that will receive some CSV file, some file, import CSV, and okay, so previous job, created stuff, imported the file, but now let's have so in the previous job I've created a service that does that. So it is generally good idea to wrap a function inside any functionality inside the service, so it could be used not just from the REST endpoint but from a web controller, simple controller, or like for example if I'm using Within framework that does all the job from Java code, all the UI is coded in Java code, and yeah, it could be potentially used from there. So let's have service, and let's get employee service. Service. Maybe this could be renamed to employee service. Will be service, and this will be acquired here. And here it will in the old task. This was saved in the database. Here I just need to return the list of of a grouping of employees that have worked most together for the longest period. And it's pair, so it's two employees that have worked in most time together. So let's have a simple model with a class employee pair, and have private int 1 employee 1 period of and let's not use yeah, let's use records. I'm a big fan of using one book, but for this project let's just use a Java record. So basically this endpoint needs to return a list of pairs, and endpoint service will basically this multi-part file is somehow related to how Spring does the things. If I'm using a Within frontend, I will have directly a file, a multi-part file that is different. Let me just check this. Inspecting file cloud for another project of mine, uploading file with Within. I have a file buffer that is some file that is coming from Within. So here I save a file, so I have path to access to the file. So basically, it is good idea to wrap this multi-part file that is coming from Spring to a file that is coming from Java, and the service will minimally depend on actual external libraries and frameworks. So I'll do the mapping here. Return to employee pair, and I'll get file, get resource, get file. So this is a temporary file that is discarded after the requests by the web framework. And here let's have a simple list that will return a response to the array list, and return a response. And I'll look at my how I'm reading CSV from another project. So what I'm doing there is the following. I'm reading a file, skipping the first line because it is with the headers. What column what type contains. Basically, this is a response, and I would need to do the mapping here. But yeah, I need to create here mapping from the CSV to a temp inner model that I'm gonna extract the data, and after that I'll map it to employee pair. And yeah, first let's look at dependency of CSV. So I'm using OpenCSV, and okay, there are some vulnerabilities that I'll need to check. Basically, OpenCSV library has a dependency to common collections, and even after putting the latest version of common collections 4, even milestone 2, it still tries to find the older version of common collections, and this needs to be on lookout when they will actually update this library to support the latest version. But for now, let's have let's code with eyes closed, and yeah, let's put some throws to these exceptions. We don't have user repository here, and let's have another Java class with employee data, and here I need employee ID, project ID, date, walkout date time. Actually, yeah, start intent, so it's date time, more of a date time. Date and so any data will be any manipulation will be done on this record. So here for each line I need to extract some employee data. So let's have the readme file somewhere to look it up on the other screen. So first, so if line not length equals, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 elements, else throw uh, Dart language, there is no new. So I've been, I've been coding some Dart code and there is no new keyword there. So excuse me for not introducing it all the time. So the line is 4. So let's introduce a temp array with employee data. New employee. Okay, so then basically I need 0, 1, 2, 3, and I'll need to transform them to integer. And this could potentially throw a number format exception. So yeah, I could potentially also uh, put a counter on which row this happens and all of that, but and indicate a more readable error. But yeah, I want to finish this project to be functional, so I'll skip for now. So let's parse line 2 and on line 3 it could be actually no if no dot equals line 3. Actually, yeah, let's give a no, or otherwise do the same like here. So for testing purposes, have let's have a sample file upload from my Arc client. I'm using advanced REST client. I'll prepare a file upload with this endpoint, so I will print here the result of this uploading. And yeah, let's print out all the temp of this data. Okay, so I made a REST client call with that is post that has multi-part form data with this data. And after trying it, I'm getting file not found. Basically, I cannot get this file from the request, so I'll need to move it to temp as a temp file as I did in the other project. to have it unified interface over the actual manipulation of the file. So let me just create a return this, and let's try finally. File delete, and yeah. So I move it temp file and pass it like this, and now it should work. And no. Yeah, but now the issue is different error. It's this the goal of programming, having a different error next time. So yeah, let's have a look what's the issue now. Um, okay, line CSV reader. So it's pretty okay. Oh, the spaces. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, here they are. So I could get to the actual business logic now. So this temp item and basically this function does all the mapping, and I could potentially write a separate function that will do just that mapping of employee data to employee pair. So yeah, it will be better to have this from file, and I'll create map to employee pair, but not from file, but from this. And well, this is outside. Okay. Yeah, this could be potentially public. And yeah, I'm creating new response pair, and I could potentially return this and do not have a pair. And here I would return just empty list. Yeah, this is unreachable because on error it will throw an exception. Otherwise, all is good and mapping will happen. So here is this employee pair. So we need to collect which employees. So let's think invoice. I have projects, and in these projects employees, but our goal is to group employees in the same project. So how to map projects, employees, and in the same time that are common in the same time. So here I have a list of employees, moreover employees data about projects. So yeah, let's let's think about how to group them. Basically, let's go from the requirements. We could potentially group employees in terms of projects. So let's have a hash map of integer and list of employee data. That will be projects dot put employee data get project ID with a list of employees and their time there. So yeah, so if this is knowable, if employees data is null, let's initialize new array list and put it. And employee data one, let's add the current employee date. So this groups the employees in projects. So from each project I could search pairs of employees that have worked. So projects each. Basically, in this loop, I don't need the integer, the projects associated to the pairs, but actually the pair. So so for every employee in the data, in this data, I need to look up for if the other employees have matching uh, working from and to dates. So basically for each employee, I need to check all the others if their work time matches between. And one other thing, basically if this is new, I'll put a date time local dates now. Yeah, basically for every employee data, I need to check all the other employees data. So but this one will start from 1. So basically I could potentially put a key, the pair of employees or map. So I could skip this looping around because looping is expensive interrupts, especially if there are a lot of employees. This could go a lot. So is there such thing as pair in Spring? Yes. And basically this is the sample amount of months that they have worked together. I think, yeah, this is the goal. So let's go into work together. So this loops will not be needed, but so for every employee, I look for every employee. I need to pair with every other employee. So so I go through if plus set no. So I could not get the same employee's data, so I will not count every employee data twice. So this goes to two pairs of employee data, and here I have a employee data 1 and employee data 2. So this if so either the start or the end must be between the start and the end of the other, so they could have worked together. So the start need to be after the second, after the start of the second, and before the end of the second. So or the end of the first needs to be after the start of the first, and so they could have worked together up till they could are still working. So there it goes here. So the end of the first need to be after the start of the second. So yeah, one starts ends. Let's visualize the cases. Start end. Yeah, the first case is the first have started and ended after this both, so both are mismatching the time that they have worked together. Second case is for the second to have worked after the first. So these cases will not end up in a working pair. So the other two options are if the first have started and have ended in the middle of the second. Third option is for the fourth if this is the inverted case, and actually I'm not sure if it is a fifth case if they are both still working on the same project. Not sure if this is a fifth case. So basically these are the cases, so I need to introduce them into logic. Let's move these cases here. So the first need to have, so this I should ignore these cases as they will not include values into this work together map. So I need this one. So the first have started and is before the start of the second, and the end of the first is not before or is after the start of the second. So I just described this case. So the first have started and its time is before the start of the second, and at the same time the end of the first is after the start of the second, or the it's probably it's the same but for the second one. Let's see what I have written. The end of the first is after the start of the second. Yeah, I have written that for the first, it intent must be before the start of the first, and the start need to be before the end. So let's have here the pair of employee ID. Here is the employee ID 1, and here is employee ID 2. So I need to to look up for an integer that if they have worked together, but I could potentially look for both if they have found first, if they have started on one project in the same time, and they it could be second, so these integers could be swapped, and as I must take into account this. So if I need to get a pair of if this is different than from not null, uh, pair of this not null, pair of, here I have a pair else create new pair. So basically, if I need to take into account the order of pairs, does this pair object take into account what field is first and second? Yeah, the same, but for the second pair. So if any of these pairs is not null, I could uh, create new key value. So basically, here I have order value. This value could be a pair of this. This is not null. This the same, but for the second pair. So this is the previous value, and I need to add here the new value. Plus equals calculate work together time months. So employee data 1, employee data 2, and this could be another method that could be also public for testing purpose and for usage from other services, other. So here I need to have the common months. So let's see if ChatGPT could generate the code for me. So you give me a Java code that calculates the common month between two um, date ranges. So here I have two pairs, much like I have, and it will return year month object. So uh, well, this searches for months, for exact months, but I need the time. Give me the, yeah, that calculates the common time in months. Yeah, ChatGPT is very sensitive to what have you entered. So yeah, now int. Yeah, I think it's my case. And period is Java datetime. And okay. Start time. And I need to put this inside this pair of work together. Let's put the pair 1 with the previous value modified, and basically here I need to do the same. create a new pair of two employees. Outside I have already created it. Okay, so basically put, and I need to calculate this again. And I think I'm ready to test my code. Let's have the arc here, and it returns an empty result because I haven't filled up the pairs results, employee pair from work together. So for each integer pair, I need to up employee pair with employee one. Wait a second. And together. Okay. There. Basically, an empty array, and seems I will need to debug this. Okay, import data with employee one, employee two. Let's see after the mapping into projects. So there are two projects, and only the first one has two values. So projects, yeah, the second one does not have two employees records, so the first one is what matters. So these are the two employees in the 143 2000. Yeah, these are the two. And for each, basically, if employee size I need to do this only if employee size is greater than 1. Okay, closing here. Yeah, I will restart this to have it count this case. Okay, pairs. Okay, first case. Let's see if the work together has collected any data. So basically work together have not collected any data. So all these checks need to be double checked. Basically we have employee data 1 with start, well, 12 years of time for the project, 12 years and 2 months. And second, have worked up to 2019. The first one, yeah, they are mismatching, of course. Yeah, it's pretty normal. Two 2019. Yeah, I need different data, of course. This is true. I need to open some data that will have a common work time. So basically, for the first employee, let's have um, to have worked for up to 2012 and 6 months. So this will have a month of common work on this project. Will the arc plant reload the new file? Let's see. If or it does upload the file to some temporary location. And but request, okay, now investigate why core part file is not present. Add file part. Okay, I need to investigate this. Okay, after some testing, I found something very strange. I was needing to enable and disable this parameter to get thing working, and let's see if the calculations are right. So seems they have worked together for the month of May and the month of June. So yeah, could be two, and I also need um, to make some refinements to get the expected output of just integers and not the whole record stuff, the whole JSON item. So this could be just a string, and basically here I could map every row to a string, like employee pair, employee one, just employee two, and time together. And in the end to collect string. And this should return a string now. Okay, so this is the expected result, and actually I could sort them by longest on common projects for the longest period of time. This is one of the requirements that I will accomplish by let's introduce three different methods here. And again, this could be potentially methods of the service, but list dot sort o1 minus o2 time together. Sort by, so basically the comparator expects either -1 and either 0 or 1. So compare int. Okay, so let's have an example of second pair of employees on another project, like employee 4 9 this and this, and this have started 2000. Okay, so these two have worked for a year and 4 months. And there is some issue. Okay. Okay, let's see if they are sorted correctly. No. Mm, joining with a new line of delimiter. Yeah. Okay. Compare ints have worked together, and I need to have compare int and what is the direction of this. Can I have the direction or sort inverted? A reversed. Okay, and let's check again the data. So two guys have worked, should have worked. Oh, they have worked. Yeah, this guy ended this work time, and it's correct to be 3 months. Yeah, let's update it to be a little bit more. Some issue with the REST clients. Okay. Mm, this, this is an issue of the REST client that I haven't seen before so far, but yeah. Uh, okay, but request, because I have deactivated this. File, choose it again. Okay, so now it's okay. And let's have a look at the requirements. So create, sorted by the longest, and they could be null from CSV solution. Okay, I'll do this on a side while I'm not recording. And bonus points. I'm not sure if the date formatter will parse correctly other date formats. Let's look at this parse method. So by default, it looks for ISO UKO date. And is there a temp formatter? So this potentially could be introduced with a request parameter, with additional request parameter, or by passing a localized date format. So, or I could parse the pattern. This will be ideal to have pattern coming from the request. And yeah, date form. Let's have this, create a parameter. Date format, and state format could potentially be string date format. And let's have it a query parameter or date format, and let's make it optional. Required false, and equals null. Let's be date format. Let's look of the on the default formatter is ISO date of year, month, and date. Let's test this. Without changing the parameter. Okay, so let's have a different date format. Not file part, but text part. Let's first be the dates, then the month, then the year. And this one should, yeah. Pretty normally, this one could not be parsed because I haven't updated the, let's have a duplicate file here. minimize this. Also, tries to open it with open. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's edit this according to the other format. Okay, after I've changed the order of the fields and I've updated the date format as text part of the request. Now the response is okay, valid, and I could move to a next point of the task. Maven ChatGPT help. So I added support for multiple date formats and create an UI that will allow to pick file from the file system and selecting it to come out to projects. The pair are displayed in a data grid, so this is visualization of the CSV file. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, it needs all common projects of the pair are displayed in a data grid with the following columns. So yeah, this will need a different result than just the common hours. Yeah, and we'll need another function for my service, and it will also require UI, and I'll do this in another video. What I'll focus on this video is what most colleagues focus on is the algorithmic complexity here. In this, after this extraction of data, what most colleagues focus is algorithmic complexity of this information. So how much time it will take to iterate through records, and second, how much memory it will consume. And I totally realized that creating some variables will most likely increase the memory over footprint of this solution. But yeah, if they want me, they'll accept this solution. Or yeah, basically what I have seen in my career is that I rarely need to code some uh, complex logic that needs uh, such a manipulation of data in memory in real time, but not in the storage, in the relational database. That is again a whole nother topic. And yeah, besides all this complexity, I have written 2 blog posts over the years. First is about this algorithmic complexity or O-time. Basically, besides time complexity and call stack increase in recursive functions, for example, there is a lot of complexity and overhead that one must realize, like getting into choosing operated versus compiled code execution. For example, I have colleagues that have chosen Quarkus as a uh, basis for their microservices because the microservices written with it have super uh, hot, super fast start time. So they are using Java but compiled to native code execution. So besides optioning between is there is an option where to store the data. Any meaningful application stores data in RAM file system, key, value storage, uh, and yeah, there is also the modern non-blocking applications like Node.js that was ported with to Vertex and there are several non-blocking approaches even in Spring you could use it. And database speed is whole another topic. Any meaningful operation is executed on the place where the data is. So minimal information is passed between the database and the application server or to the browser that is even further than the storage of data. So there is also a complexity of many microservices. There is the request of how to pass the data to the client most conveniently. So there are several other uh, formats of data besides JSON, XML, uh, file buffer, the binary protocol of Google. So there is also physical distance between the client and the server. Why there are CDNs, content delivery networks, and yeah, if this why Amazon offers different servers in different regions because even in America there are two sides of it, the west and the east side, and traveling all the bytes between the two it takes time. So yeah, a server close to the client is very powerful. So there are also using torrents for content streaming, like what some companies are doing, and basically there are a lot of ways to get complicated beyond algorithmic complexity. So in my career, I have probably focused on 2 or 3 times on actual algorithmic stuff. Yeah, it was rarely something primary. There is also a focus about uh, speed of development, cooperation of teams, having CI/CD, and I don't want to dive into the mobile world where there there is also platform differences, different app stores, and yeah, it could go on and on and on. So on a next video I may continue with this bonus point.